Hey, my name's Landon, and I'm a Challenge 2016 participant. So in my video, I'm going to be going over the solution to number 8 on the calculus pretest. And so this asks you to find the radius of convergence and interval of convergence of the following power series. So you may notice that since it's negative 1 to the k, that it's an alternating series. So I tried the alternating series test and I could not find a solution. So I went to plan B, which is the ratio test. And the ratio test says that the limit as k approaches infinity of the absolute value of a sub k plus 1 over a sub k must be less than 1 in order for it to converge. And a sub k plus 1 just means that wherever you see a k, you replace it with k plus 1. And a sub k just means your original. So what you're going to go ahead and do is rewrite this series, but replacing k with k plus 1. So I have negative 1 to the k plus 1 times x plus 2 to the k plus 1 over k plus 1 squared times 3 to the k plus 1. And then what you can go ahead and do is simplify this out. Oh wait, actually, sorry. I forgot the other step was to divide by the original. So what you can do is just multiply by its reciprocal, which is just k squared times 3 to the k over negative 1 to the k times x plus 2 to the k. Now what you can do is simplify everything that's to the k plus 1. So then what you'll have is negative 1 to the k times negative 1 times x plus 2 to the k times x plus 2 over k plus 1 squared. You can just leave that there. Then times 3 to the k times 3. Then you can just leave this side because you can't simplify this anymore. And here's the fun part, is you can just simplify. So 3 to the k will cancel, negative 1 to the k will cancel, and x plus 2 to the k will cancel. And so now you're left with negative 1 times x plus 2 times k squared over 3 times k plus 1 squared. And so now you're going to take the limit and see if this is less than 1. But since the limit is only dealing with the variable k, you can kind of take the x plus 2 part and stick that in front before the limit and deal with that afterwards. So then what you're going to have is x plus 2 times your limit as k approaches infinity of absolute value negative k squared over 3 times k plus 1 squared, which must be less than 1. So from this limit, you can see that the k squared and the k plus 1 squared, that limit is going to be equal to 1 because they kind of cancel out. And so you have that limit is going to be equal to negative 1 over 3 because the k squared and the k plus 1 squared, it's going to wind up to lead to the same thing. So it would be 1 over 1 times the negative 1 over the 3. So then what you're going to have is the negative 1/3 times x plus 2 is less than 1. And then you can bring that negative 1/3 to the other side, but don't forget you have to change the sign. And x plus 2 is going to be greater than negative 3. And now what you're going to do is split this up because it's an inequality. So then you're going to have x plus 2, which is less than 3, and x plus 2, which is greater than negative 3. And so right here solving, you get x is greater than negative 5. And here you get x is less than 1. So you're not done yet. Now you have to solve for the endpoints to see if the endpoints should be included in your interval. So to do that, you just start with the original equation, original series. And this is, I'm going to do x is greater than negative, I'm going to do x is equal to -5 first. So then you're going to have -1 to the k times -5 plus 2 to the k, which is equal to -3 to the k over k squared times 3 to the k. And you're testing to see if this converges. So the -3 to the k and 3 to the k are going to simplify, and so you'll have -1 to the k times -1 to the k over k squared. This is going to equal 1 to the k over k squared. And then when you put that infinity in there, you're going to get 1 to the infinity over k over infinity squared, which is equal to 1 over infinity. Any number over infinity is equal to 0. So this converges. -5 works as a solution. When you do x equals 1, you get sigma k equals 1, -1 to the k times 3 to the k over k squared times 3 to the k. These are going to cancel out, and then you're going to have -1 to the k over k squared. And when you plug in infinity, -1 to the infinity over infinity squared. This is going to diverge because a negative number to the infinity, when you switch between an even and an odd number, even an odd exponent, it's going to make the answer either negative or positive. So then this doesn't converge to one number. This diverges. So then x equals 1 does not work as a solution. So your interval will be from -5 to 1, square bracket here because it's included, and then your radius is going to equal 3 because the middle number is -2 and the radius out from the center is 3.